The meeting to order. This is the Governing Board regular meeting, Thursday, May 26, 2022. And if you are able, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we do have a quorum with all of our directors in attendance. The first item of business is the approval of the minutes from April 28th, 2022. Were there any corrections that we should make on those minutes from April 28th? Okay, seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as written. And then we also need to approve the May 11th special meeting minutes. Are there any corrections to those minutes?
Madam President?
Yes, Roberta.
Yeah. I'm going to object to them. I thought they were awful one-sided. Things were missing in the report. It has nothing about Lisa making a statement for Jim Sloan, who was unable to be there. And my statement, there was nothing, even acknowledgement of that. And I just feel that they need to go back for a rewrite.
Okay, I'll turn to our secretary. Lisa, you want to respond to that?
Yes, that was actually going to be one of my comments as well, that I felt that the letter I read on behalf of Director Sloan should have been in there, and it wasn't. These are not minutes that I had anything to do with. They were approved by you.
These were the minutes that the meeting was called by the board. Just to clarify, the meeting was called by the board president, and therefore the minutes are the board president's minutes. So they can be revamped, obviously, if the board so wishes, but just to explain that, this is a little bit different than a governing board meeting.
Okay. I understand. I didn't realize that you had not approved those minutes. Sorry.
Thank you,
I
President.
thought that was our typical procedure. Okay, so do you want to work with Karen then on that? And then
I absolutely would. Thank you.
Come back with that, those changes next month. Okay. Then we have a series of EOMs that are filed, and they are available for you to read. Do we have a motion, Lisa?
Thank you, President Fitzsimons. Sorry, I was having trouble getting my chair close enough. I move to accept the May 2022 end-of-month reports as filed information.
Okay. Anybody, do we have approval for that? Second? Well, first of all, we need a second, I guess.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim. Discussion?
Sorry, I just had one question, since I couldn't go over the finance meeting because we couldn't hear it. I just want to verify with Director Brown that we have the information correctly, that under the variance for April 30, 2022, we show an operating revenue of $1,732,932 as overage. I mean, as a plus. Assess.
I would have to look at the actual information.
Okay. Well, let me just do it this way then. This is what I printed off, which is the one that you have information
If that's
from.
what was printed
Okay,
off.
so then all the figures on here are correct, would be correct by the Budget and Finance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, the motion passes. Let's move on to a special report of one of the committees. Each month, we try to highlight one of our committees and their end of month. And so this time, we have the Special Arts and Design Committee report that the chairperson, Richard Tornabene, is going to come up and talk about and highlight the work that they've been doing. It's this. Okay, before Richard begins, would you, those of you that are at the back of the room, come on down in front and fill up the empty chairs? Okay, Richard?
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, good. All right, the Art and Design Committee has a special committee and has been empowered for approximately 2 years. The achievements that we've brought together here are designs. We have an aluminum painting, a lovely one that we're recommending, a blue wave, which would go above the R.H. Johnson, blue tile for Kuntz, lizard acre quilt, which would be in a protective case and included here within the lecture hall. We have an opportunity, approximately 8 foot by 6 foot, as I recall the dimensions, where the art committee, where the art club will be painting on wood tiles a Van Gogh, which is a tavern scene, which would then be put into Kuntz, and then a serving table, which would then dress up the area for the Kuntz region and be available for everything. Right now, we did have a couple of slow starts. I think there was some confusion as to how approval for funding came about. We know we have a $30,000 budget, but there was some confusion as to how much authority we had to be able to spend that budget and who had to approve it. Once a clarification came about, then we started moving forward and we'll be presenting to the board for the final approval, as you are the only ones who can approve any amount of financing. We then made a presentation to the property committee of all of the projects that we had recommended. I think there was only one that they disapproved of or disagreed with, had an issue, and I believe it was the blue wave, because that one was going to be very structural. I think all the rest of them, the committee unanimously approved of them or believed that they were good. Let's see, presentations will be made to the governing board. We are up against the wall. We're coming up on the end of the fiscal year. And if we don't spend the money, then it's my understanding that that money will revert back in if we don't get approval and the committee be continued. My recommendation and request at this point in time is that we do approve the continuation of the Arts and Design Committee, possibly making it into a permanent committee. I think the committee was impacted on some of the elements that was trying to get done by COVID, inability to meet with people. And in addition, the confusion, which we had to sort out as far as administration, who does what, where, and when. So are there any questions?
Sharon?
In your cost analysis of what it costs for the pieces, have you also spoken with staff in regards to what it costs to maintain them?
No, we have not.
So there isn't any.
My name is Patricia Leopard. I live on Maplewood Drive. And let me see what my rec number is. I was here, this is just a point of conversation. I hope I'm not wasting your time or our residents' time. I was here when we first implemented, when I shouldn't say we, when the current logo was implemented. And there was a tremendous amount of disagreement with it. It looked like a rooster's crow. And no one could understand why the blue. We live in the middle of the desert. So anyway, I don't mean to be confrontational, but I absolutely disagree with the colors and with the blue and with the ocean and with the water. It doesn't represent Sun City West or our desert. And I will find my red card. I just wanted to say that for the record. We've had many, many conversations about it, but when this was done several years ago, the residents really had no say in it. It was just sort of shoved past.
Okay, thank you for
Thank you.
expressing your opinion. And you have the number? No, just read your number. Just, yeah, just give it to Karen. Okay, anyone else? Lisa?
Thank you, President Fitzsimons. I'm wondering if it wouldn't be possible when the committee, if it goes forward, when they come up with an idea such as, hypothetically, I know the waves may be on hold, but when they come up with the idea of the waves, if they have maybe 2 or 3 different designs and they throw it out to the community, maybe through the rec center news, and let the community vote on it. Let the community have a say in it. After all, this is the community's money we're using to pay for this. And I think if we let the community vote on it and have a say in it, maybe it'll be a little more accepted by the community. Just a thought.
Yes, there are a number of different designs for the waves, and so that is a possibility. You have to understand that this committee is in uncharted waters, and trying to work out those details of exactly those kinds of things that you're talking about, Lisa. And as you're picking your way through something, the answers aren't always evident, and the procedures need to be tweaked, and we need to even look at the committee and see if there's a better place to have them functioning rather than within the governing board. Maybe this is something that should be a council, like we have a theater council and we have a golf council. And so we need to look at some of those options. That might be a better place to have this concept function. Because definitely one of the goals of the committee was to involve the community. So, and involve them in community art and displaying the artwork of our own artists here, as well as purchased art and rotational art. As Richard mentioned, the quilts that are up above are going to be changed every 2 months. So it's kind of a rocky road as you try to get this whole thing to work together. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the filings. Ann?
Thank you, President Fitzsimons. The April 2022 financials have been reviewed and accepted by the Budget and Finance Committee. They have been filed.
Okay, thank you. Now, on to the next item, which is policy CO1 revisions. We started working on this, I believe, last month, and Tim, who has taken over the task of helping with the policies that are not covered by committees, has some revisions, and he's been tweaking some things. So why don't you talk this about this, or you can start with your motion, I guess, if you'd like to do that, and then we can discuss. Oops.
That's right. The motion, I move that the governing board approve in gross revisions to policy C1 standing and special committees as redlined.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, now Tim.
Okay,
Talk to us.
at our workshop 2 weeks ago, we first unveiled this, and there was a considerable amount of confusion over some of the wording as far as it matching the Arizona statute covering open meetings. So what I did was went back to the statute, Title 33, 1804, and rewrote the policy to make it more clear as to what exactly was expected about notice and agendas for the minutes, and that's what's in here. The other thing that we did was there was some discrepancy on the title, current title of being
throw. Our golf courses, or anyone trying to build a golf course in the state of Arizona from here on out, will be limited to 90 acres of turf. How you use it is to your concern, but you have to be able to show a 100-year water supply in which to do that. So whether it's coming out of the ground or using effluent water or those types of things, that's all between whoever's developing and the Arizona Department of Water Resources. We are sitting in a very good spot. We have groundwater rights that have been obtained, and so we are looking at the observation of how much water we throw and where we throw it. And within the proposed budget that you're about to hear today, one of our big projects at the Grandview Golf Course is the replacement, per se, of a 40-year-old system of irrigation that'll take into effect the amount of turf that we need to throw in 2025. So we're getting a little bit ahead of the curve there, and basically replacing a little bit of unusable grass in our golf system with a little bit of decomposed granite and desert landscaping to help comply with, we know what these new rules are going to be in a couple of years. So turf removal and water conservation are kind of always on our mind. And again, you'll be hearing a lot more about this as we move forward. When it comes to water in the future, there are also two properties that we don't have any real management control over within the walls here at Sun City West, but the Hillcrest Golf Club and Briarwood are under the same situation. In a recent meeting with the Hillcrest group, they've asked if they could get on the agenda for our governing board workshop in September to talk about their upcoming plans and what they're planning on doing as far as their water conservation efforts on their particular piece of property. Right now, it's a golf course. It will remain a golf course. Maybe a little alterations along the line, but they have 172 acres of turf there. They're going to have to drop that down to 90. And so they too are going to have some developmental problems or changes or challenges like we all do. And they have, at least initially, have a couple of plans that they've been working with, and they'd like to present their latest and greatest at the governing board workshop in September. Unfortunately, I do not have that date in my head. Anybody? Thank you, Tim. And in a meeting the other day, we were talking with the folks over at Briarwood. Some of you may or may not be members there, but they are in the process of a special assessment election and looking at their members to contribute additional money to their program. That election results will be provided on June 16th as far as raising some money for them to be able to help offset some of their costs that they've got ahead of them when it comes to realigning sprinkler heads and those types of things to make sure that they are in compliance with the water conservation scenario coming up. So that's part of our master plan update. I just want to give you a little bit of brief up as far as the water conservation goes. And then when it comes to programming changes and possible additions, the two things that really came to fruition initially out of our results from the master plan are obviously the increase in pickleball. That sport is growing beyond belief, and so we are doing an assessment there. What can we do to help them and look at potential providing additional courts based on their numbers? But what we're really focusing on really is the data. Show us the data and the need and that kind of thing so we can really make good, positive decisions when it comes to the utilization of funds. And then casual dining inside the walls came up as one of the key aspects out of this master plan from the owner members as well. They'd like to see a couple of opportunities if they can as far as having some kind of a casual dining enhancements made somewhere within the walls here at Sun City West for people to enjoy. And that really kind of buttons up where we are at moving forward. I'm sorry, I can't get this thing to move. Am I done? Thank you. Moving this thing forward obviously requires a little bit more funding, and that is presented within the upcoming budget. And we are here today seeing what the governing board would like to do when it comes to the finalizing of and the approval of that budget. So that concludes my report on the master plan. I thought there was more. No, is there one more slide? No, not that one. I am done? All right. Okay. Maybe, I don't know if it got deleted or not, but there are focus groups we're going to try to bring forward. We've got Torch graduates. We've got the governing board committee and special committees we'll be trying to gathering to get more information moving forward to discuss all that. I apologize for leaving that slide off. Sorry. Was it? No, I'm sorry. All right. That concludes my report. Thank you, Sue.
Any questions for Bill?
I do have a question.
Tim?
Bill, these committees that you're talking about forming, are you going to form them over the summer? Are you going to wait till September? What's your timing on that?
Well, obviously, the September scenario with Hillcrest and the water conservation scenarios, that's going to be through there, obviously with Briarwood. But in speaking with our consultants, you know, we'd like some of the Torch graduates that are still here, we'd like to assemble some of those. Again, it comes down to funding come July, and that's where we're at. But with our residents and trying to get the full committees kind of rolling and on board, it's somewhat a wait till fall until a lot of the folks return and we start seeing our numbers increase.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, other questions of Bill? Harry?
Bill, is Michelle still under contract?
No, sir.
No, so we have no contracts with
We're not obligated
either group?
for any consultants at this point in time.
And so there's, the last report she gave was her report?
Her final, unless we basically move on and move forward and reintroduce some fruit and dial in if you want to go a different route other than her. There are other consultants out there that do this type of work, but, you know, I've been pretty happy with what she's done, but the scope of work that she was contracted to do has concluded.
Thank you.
Other questions? Anybody from the audience? Okay, thank you, Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Budget issues. Ann, do you want to start with the motion?
Thank you, President Fitzsimons. I move that the governing board approve the fiscal year 2022-23 total budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, discussion, Ann, you've got the floor to begin with.
Well, I want to start by thanking everyone who has given input. This is, I believe, the 12th or 13th time that the budget has been shown to the community. And I wish this many people had shown up for the community forums that our general manager had. We have had open forums. We have had governing board meetings.